ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं स च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुव एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Respected Amma, Prabhuji, Mataji, all the respected Vaishnavas present over here, please accept my humble obeisances. Please bless me and pray for me so that I can do this service for the pleasure of Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas and for my internal purification.
Mataji, there are 3 sections now starting from today. Today you take 1 section, tomorrow and day after. So this is a slightly shorter one. So you take as much time as you want and then I'll summarize. Hare Krishna.
Yes, okay, Prabhuji. I will start. Chapter 8, Reaching Life's Perfection. The human form of life is meant for God realization. Srila Prabhupada gives an address at London's Conway Hall in 1969. If one thinks like that, I am no one else servant, my business is to serve God, then he is liberated. His heart is immediately cleansed and he is liberated. And after one has reached that, then all one's cares and anxieties in this world are over. Because one knows I am a servant of God, God will give me protection. Why should I worry about anything? So this topic, today's topic, Srila Prabhupada is explaining about what is the human form of life is actually meant for. The highest form of utilization of human form of life is to realize God. Who am I? Who is God? And what is the relationship? How to reawaken? Today's subject is our relationship with God. That is self-realization. The Sankirtana movement is the easiest process for self-realization because it cleanses the heart. Our misunderstanding of our identity is due to the dust covering the mirror of the mind. In a mirror that is covered with dust, one cannot see himself. But if it is very clear, then one can see himself. So meditation is a process for cleansing the heart. Meditation means to try to understand one's relationship with the Supreme. So the soul is naturally connected to the Lord, but because the consciousness is, the conditioned soul's consciousness is covered over by the dust. We will see in further what is that dust Prabhupada is explaining. So because of that, one cannot see one, like just like if a mirror is very dusty, for many years it has not been clean and we try to see ourselves, we may think, oh, I am this one. If we have not seen our body or face previously in the mirror, then I may think, oh, I am this one. I look like this. Then when the mirror is clean, we can see clearly. So similarly, when the heart is clean, the consciousness is clean, the who am I actually gets revealed. With everything with which we come in contact, there is a relationship. Because I am now sitting in this cushion, the relationship is that I shall sit and the cushion will hold me. You have relationships. You are Englishmen or Indians. So there is a relationship with your society, with your family, with your friends. So what is our relationship with God? If you ask everyone, very few people will be able to explain their relationship with God. They say, what is God? God is dead. I don't believe in God. What to speak of a relationship? Because these dirty things are covering their hearts, they cannot see. We have a relationship with everything. Why do we not try to understand our relationship with God? Is that very intelligent? No, that is ignorance. All the creatures in this material world are covered by three modes of material nature. Therefore, they cannot see God. They cannot understand God, nor do they try to understand Him. So, these three modes of material nature covering, they make us dance in a particular way. That's how somebody says, I am short tempered, or I say very straightforward. No, that person doesn't have a control over the senses. Or uh, like anything, like there are in the 14th chapter, it gives the how these modes, which dominance is there, what kind of nature a particular person possesses, and what kind of food they like, what kind of everything is mentioned there. So according to, depending on the combination of modes of material nature, a particular person is conditioned and they behave accordingly, and that makes us forgetful. And the ignorance is that I am this body, and this bodily related things are I, me, and mine, and that's how one forgets Krishna. Also in the Bhagavad Gita, also in the third chapter, it is told that there are 3 degrees of covering of the living entity, by which his pure consciousness becomes obscured. This covering is but lust under different manifestation. Like there Prabhupada gives example, like the verse says that the smoke in the fire, or mirror, dust with mirror, or womb about the embryo. So the covering, these 3 types of covering are explained. Like the consciousness of a living entity gets covered over, and the covered mirror is compared to birds and beasts. Like fire and smoke means human life. Okay, if one has the chance to practice Krishna consciousness, and one can uh, if it takes to the Krishna consciousness, the fire of Krishna consciousness will burn in the heart. But the covering of mirror is compared to bird and beast. Then the embryo is compared to like trees. It is almost like not existing only. Like so, the revival will be very difficult. So this consciousness gets covered over. But God is there. In England in the morning, there is mist, so you cannot see the God. Sun, you cannot see the sun behind the fog. But does that mean that there is no sun? You cannot see it because your eyes are covered. But if you send a telegram to another part of the world, they will say, yes, the sun is here. We can see it. It is dazzling, full of light. So our eyes get actually covered over by the fog, or the cloud sometimes covers. So the sun can never be covered. Our eyes, our vision gets covered. Just like a night, some bug is getting birth in the night and dies in the night itself. So if the bug claims that there is no sun, then it is foolish. So similarly, the sun is always there. It's just that our eyes, our vision is limited, it gets covered over. So when you deny the existence of God, or you cannot ascertain your relationship with God, that means that you are lacking in knowledge. It is not that there is no God. We are lacking. The sun is not covered. The sun cannot be covered. The fog or the cloud or the mist does not have the power to cover the sun. How big the sun is? It is so many times bigger than this earth. And the clouds can cover at most 10 or 20 or 100 miles. So how can the cloud cover the sun? No, the clouds cannot cover the sun. They cover your eyes. When an enemy comes and the rabbit cannot defend himself, the rabbit closes his eyes and thinks, my enemy is now gone. Similarly, we are covered by the external energy of God and are thinking God is dead. The Lord has three kinds of energies. In the Vishnu Purana, there are descriptions of the energy of the Supreme Lord. And in the Vedas also, in the Upanishads, there are descriptions of the energies of the Supreme Lord. Parashi Shaktir Vividhaiva Shuyate. Shweta Sutara Upanishad 6.8. Shakti means energy. The Lord has multi energies. The Vedas say God has nothing to do. We have to work, but we have no other means to exist. We have to eat, we wish to enjoy this, that. But why should God work? God does not have to work. Then how can we say that God created this universe? Is that not work? No. Then how did it happen? His manufacturer's multifarious energies are so strong that they are acting naturally and are full of knowledge. We can see how a flower blooms and grows and systematically displays multicolors. One side a little spot, another side a little spot, with on one side more white, on the other side white on one side, more white on the other side. The butterfly also exhibits such artistic symmetry. So this is all being painted, but in such a perfect way and so swiftly that we cannot see how. We cannot understand how it is being done, but it is being done by the energy of the Lord. So any creation implies a creator behind it. Similarly, these all wonderful creations are so automatic. So there is a mastermind creator behind it. That is the Lord. And the energies do everything. Just like the government means the prime minister should not be present everywhere. But when we see the government functioning, we understand the presence and the energy of the government. It is due to a lack of knowledge that people say that God is dead, that there is no God, and that we have no relationship with God. These thoughts have been compared to the thoughts of a man haunted by a ghost. Just as a haunted man speaks all nonsense, when we become covered by the illusory energy of God, we say that God is dead. But this is not a fact. Therefore, we need this chanting process to cleanse our heart. Take to this simple process of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. In that way, in your family life, in your club, in your home, on the road, everywhere, chant Hare Krishna. And this darkness covering your heart, covering your real position will be removed. Then you will understand your real constitutional position. So this covering of illusory energy that I am this body, lack of this knowledge, like forgetfulness of Krishna, and thinking that body, I, me, and mine, that is the covering, that is the grip of the three modes of material nature. That is the dust Prabhupada is saying about, and this covering can be cleansed by chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Yeah. Then we will be able to understand our real constitutional position. There is a conditional position that I am born into this family, I am in this house, I have these responsibilities and all. And there is a constitutional position, which is I am a soul, I am part and parcel of God, and I have this relationship which is eternal. So when we are correcting the, like when we are situated in the constitutional position, we will be getting the knowledge to properly function in the conditional duties also. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Marjanam means cleansing. Darpana means mirror. The heart is a mirror. It is like a camera. Just as a camera takes all kinds of pictures of days and nights, so also our heart takes pictures and keeps them in an unconscious state. Psychologists know this. The heart takes so many pictures and therefore it becomes covered. We do not know when it has begun, but it is a fact that because there is material contact, our real identity is covered. Therefore, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, one has to cleanse the heart. There are different processes to cleanse the heart. The yajna process, the yoga process, the meditation process, pious activities. Karma also cleanses the heart. If one acts very piously, his heart will gradually be cleansed. But although these processes are recommended for cleansing the heart, in this age they are all difficult. To follow the path of philosophical knowledge, one must become very learned scholar. One must read so many books. One must go to and learned professors and scholars and speculate. One must search out a person who has seen the light. So these are all philosophical processes. Meditation is also recommended process. One should question, what am I? Just consider, am I this body? No. Am I this finger? No, this is my finger. If you contemplate your leg, you will see, oh, this is my leg. Similarly, you will find everything to be mine. And where is that I? Everything is mine. But where is that I? When one is searching for that I, that is meditation. Real meditation means concentrating all the senses in that way. But that meditation process is very difficult. One must control the senses. The senses are dragging one outward, and one has to bring them inward for introspection. Therefore, there are 8 processes in the yoga system. The first is controlling the senses by regulative principles. Then sitting postures that will help to concentrate the mind. If one sits leaning over, that will not help. If one sits up straight, that will help. Then controlling the breathing, then meditation, then samadhi. But today, these are very, very difficult processes. No one can immediately perform them. The so-called yoga processes are fragmental. Only the sitting postures and few breathing exercises are practiced. But that cannot bring one to the perfectional stage. The actual yoga process, although a recommended Vedic process, is very difficult in this age. Similarly, one can try to get knowledge by the speculative philosophical process. This is Brahman, this is not Brahman. So, what is Brahman? What is spirit soul? Such empiric philosophical discussion is also recommended, but it is useless in this age. That's why it is told there are various processes for reaching to the self realization. But for this age of Kali, Kalo Tad Hari Kirtanat, it is recommended that in the age of Kali, Srimad Bhagavatam also says there are many, many references in the Vedic scriptures that for the age of Kali, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hari Kirtanat, one has to do. By that, one will get all the benefits and more. In the whatever results were obtained in Satya Yoga by meditation, or Trita Yoga by performing sacrifices, or Dwapar Yoga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, they all can be obtained by simply chanting Hari Kirtan, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So that's how one will be able to, whatever results are given. Even Arjuna denied that it is not possible for me. That time itself, who is able to control the wind, he was telling it is easy to control the wind, but I won't be able to just sit like this and go to the jungle and concentrate, control the mind. It will be very difficult. So this is a process where we go inward. So sometimes it is told in the age of this Kali, where people are like rat races, so much is going on. One just need to calm down a little bit, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Like this will help the mind to cleanse, and one will start the journey within. Because the soul and the relationship is already there inside. So looking outwards, the nature helps us to learn, and introspection happens inside. So that's how in the age of Kali, this taking the name of Hari is recommended. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but also the Vedic literature says, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, Kalo nasti eva, nasti eva, nasti eva gatir anyatha. Kalo means in this age, nasti eva, nasti eva, nasti eva. 3 times nasti eva is used here. Eva means certainly, and nasti means not. Certainly not, certainly not, certainly not. What is that certainly not? One cannot realize oneself by karma. That is the first certainly not. One cannot realize oneself by jnana. That is the second certainly not. One cannot realize oneself by yoga, certainly not. So nowadays, whatever the yoga, it is just a portion of body stretching is happening, but the entire yoga system is very huge and difficult to process, and it takes 60,000 of years, and that it is very difficult. So, so that's why this philosophical process also, and just doing karma and then gradually progressing, that all will. It is not possible for this age of Kali. Kalo means in this age, kalo nasti eva nasti eva gatir anyatha. In this age, one certainly cannot achieve success by any of these three methods. Then what is the recommended process? Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam. Simply chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Kevalam means only. Simply chant Hare Krishna. It is the easiest and most sublime process. If we just faithfully keep on chanting in the association of devotees, we do association, book reading, chanting, and DT and diet, then what happens that we will not understand when this dirt from the heart, it just goes. This effect of unhealthy anger, lust, greed, pride, envy, illusion, and all, it starts removing. So that's how it is easiest and most sublime. Somehow the results come, we don't know like when it happened, but it happens. This is recommended, practical, and authorized. So this is recommended by scriptures. In all the Vedic scriptures, it is there. Many references are there. It is not speculation. It is practical. Whoever, whatever results are promised, if one follows, they are going to get the same results. It is a science. And authorized. They are already been practiced by bona fide, like acharyas in a bona fide disciplic successions, and this is authorized by Krishna himself and following in the bona fide disciplic successions. So take it, accept it in any condition of life, chant. There is no expenditure, there is no loss. We are not chanting a secret. No, it is open. And by chanting, you will cleanse your heart. Because all the suffering we face, just as Prabhupada was saying, there's so many impressions we keep storing in our subconscious mind. So that's how when we see some situation, we start to react from the previous impressions. And that's how different people give different reactions in the same situation. So and we get like troubled in the heart. But when the heart is cleansed, we will be more focused, more peaceful, more happy, and more connected to Krishna. In this material world, no one wants misery, but it comes unexpectedly, like a forest fire that starts without anyone striking a match. It comes. No one wants a war, but war is fought. No one wants famine, but famine comes. No one wants pestilence, but it comes. No one wants fighting, but there is fighting. No one wants misunderstanding, but there it is. Why? This is like a blazing fire in the forest, and it cannot be extinguished by a fire engine. The blazing fire of problems cannot be extinguished by our so-called advancement of knowledge. No, that is not possible. Just as one cannot extinguish a forest fire by sending a fire engine or by bringing some water, the problem of our life cannot be solved by material processes. So we just normally the prayers will be for happiness or something good. Nobody wants bad, but miseries, we don't invite miseries, but miseries come. uh, all the unexpected events in the life, they come. So by just having material advancement, one cannot solve all the problems of life, of this birth, death, old age, and disease, of this conditionings. There are many examples. Prahlad Maharaj says, my dear Lord, the father and mother are not actually the protectors of the children. The father and mother take care of their children. That is their duty. But they are not the ultimate protectors. When nature's law calls the child, the father and mother cannot protect him. Therefore, although generally it is considered a fact that the father and mother are the protectors of the child, actually it is not a fact. If someone is sailing the ocean and he thinks he has a very nice boat, will that protect him? No, still he may drown. A nice airplane is flying in the sky, everyone is safe, but all of a sudden it crashes. Nothing material can protect us. Suppose someone is diseased, he may engage a good physician who gives good medicine, but that will not guarantee that he will live. Then what is the ultimate guarantee? Prahlad Maharaj says, my dear Lord, if you neglect someone, nothing can protect him. So Prahlad Maharaj prays that the father and mother are not actually the protector of the children. That is the duty of the father and mother to take care of the child on behalf of the Lord, seeing the soul as a beautiful part of Krishna and making all arrangements so that their Krishna consciousness can be taken care and their necessities and everything. That duties they do, but mm, but it is not like they are the like ultimate protector, because when the uh, nature of law calls the child, they cannot protect. Just like Harsha Shoka was born to the king, and the king was bestowed with a child who will bring him happiness, at the same time will bring him sorrow. So he was born Harsha Shoka. That's why his name was given Harsha Shoka. When he was born, everybody was happy, but his other queens were uh, very much envious, because the king was just giving attention to that particular queen and son. So they poisoned the son, little son, and he was dead. So that then Narada Muni comes and tries to bring the dead son back, and he tells, which father mother? In many births, I had many father and mothers. Fish father and mother, this father and mother. So which bird father mother you are? Then the king realizes and gets the self realization. So that's why the father mother are the guardians, are the like care, like what is it, caretakers, but the ultimate protector is Krishna. So one has to do the duty very responsible, but at the same time not having an unhealthy attachment that I am the controller, I am the proprietor, and I am the enjoyer, and I am everything. uh, so that's why Prahlad Maharaj says, if you neglect someone, nothing can protect him. If Krishna is neglecting, or it is also told that Rakhe Krishna Mare Krishna Rakhe ke. If Krishna wants to protect, nobody can harm. If Krishna wants to like kill, then nobody can protect. So this is our practical experience. We can invest so many methods to solve the problems presented by the laws of material nature, but they are not sufficient. They will never solve all the problems, nor will they give actual relief. This is the fact. Therefore, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Maya, this external energy is very strong. He says, Mama Maya Turatyaya, my Maya, my external energy Maya is very strong. No one can surpass it. It is almost impossible. Then how can one get free from this material nature? Krishna says, simply by surrendering unto me, one can get relief from the onslaught of material nature. Mam eva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. One who will surrender unto me at once will get out of this onslaughts of Maya. That is a fact. So we have to cleanse the heart to learn what is our relationship with God. So this is very simple process actually. Like bhakti is very simple. We just have to like chant and like whatever this we learn in this Krishna consciousness mission, that yeah, if we learn from the scriptures, we learn this, then heart automatically gets clean, and we realize that at least we understand that yes, there is relationship, there is God, he is the protector. So and he is reciprocating. That feeling automatically will come, because this is very simple. We just have to cleanse the heart. In the Katha Upanishad, it is stated, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. The Supreme Absolute Personality of Godhead, or the Absolute Truth, is eternal. God is eternal and we are also eternal. But the Vedas indicate that He is the supreme living creature. He is not dead. If He is not living, how is this world working? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, under my supervision, things are going on. In the Bible also, it is said, God created. That is a fact. Not that at one time there was a chunk and then this happened and then that. So in any, even something artificial planetary system to be created, there is some material needed, somebody has to create it. So how can this entire planetary system, universe and everything is just coming from a chunk or a clash? It is not possible. No. The Vedas tell us the actual facts, but we have to open our eyes to see. Actually, the blindly believing something is wrong. If somebody tells like, I won't believe just like that God, I am not able to see. Blindly believing is not, blind faith is bad. Blindly faithlessness or blindly not believing is also bad. Both are rejected. We have to have some reasoning, some scientific logic, and put our questions, get our answers, try them out. If it is reasonable, it is making some sense, then there is no side effect, then we have to adapt it. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, that is the process of cleansing our hearts. When we cleanse our hearts, then we will be able to understand what Krishna and the Vedas say. We need to be purified. If a man is suffering from jaundice and you give him a piece of sugar candy, he will say that it is very bitter. But is sugar candy bitter? No, it is very sweet. And the medicine for jaundice is that sugar. Modern science prescribes this and it is prescribed in the Vedic literatures also. So if we take a great quantity of this sugar candy, then we will be relieved from jaundice. And when there is relief, then one says, oh, this is very sweet. So the modern jaundice of a godless civilization can be cured by this chanting of Hare Krishna. In the beginning, it may appear bitter, but when one advances, then he will see how pleasing it is. Yeah, because it is directly connected to the soul. When we keep on practicing, the impurities goes out gradually, just like one taking bath under the shower filled with mud. Once the mud starts removing, the real clean features come out. Similarly, in the beginning, it may appear bitter. Oh, it is very difficult. 4 rounds I have to chant like that. Early morning I have to get up or something like that. But it becomes nectar at the end. As soon as one understands his identity, his relationship with God, then immediately he becomes happy. Just like once Indra, he was cursed and he became a pig, hog in the material world. And he had, because he was Indra, so he became hog, king of the hog society. And he had his queen and babies and everyone, and he was eating stool and he was playing in the mud and he was very happy. So then Brahma has to come and tell, like when his punishment period was over, Brahma had to come because he was not going. Brahma had to come and explain that you are Indra, the king of the heavenly planetary system. This is your position and service, so please come back. So, like he was feeling, I am happy here, but there was little higher happiness in the heavenly kingdom. Similarly, something one may feel happiness, but as soon as the spiritual happiness one starts relishing, it is even higher, and one will feel bigger happiness. So, as soon as one understands his identity, his relationship with God, then immediately he becomes happy. Just like when, as soon as one person enters inside the temple, we feel at least everyone feels little relieved, some kind of peace, some kind of happiness, because that there little something in relationship with God one is trying to do. So when this understand what to talk about, when one actually understands the identity and relationship and practices, that person will become happily situated. We are so full of miseries because we have identified ourselves with the material world. Therefore, we are unhappy. The reason of unhappiness is given here, identifying ourselves with the material world. Anxieties and fearfulness are due to our misidentifying with the material world. The other day, I was explaining that one who identifies with this bag of bone and skin is like an animal. So, by chanting Hare Krishna, this misunderstanding will be cleansed. Cleansing of the heart means that one will understand that he does not belong to this material world. Aham Brahmasmi, I am spirit soul. As long as one identifies oneself with England, with India, or with America, this is ignorance. Today, you are an Englishman because you were born in England, but in your next life, you may not take your birth in England. It may be in China or Russia or some other country, or you may not get this human form of body. Today, you are a nationalist and you are a very great follower of your country, but tomorrow, if you stay in your country, you may become a cow being taken to the slaughterhouse. So anything is possible. So just identifying to particular designations is the cause of all problems of unhappiness. So we have to thoroughly know our identity. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the actual identity of every living creature is that he is the eternal servant of God. Jivera Swarupa Hoye Krishnera Nitya Das. Every living entity is an eternal servant of God. If one thinks like that, I am no one else servant, my business is to serve God, then he is liberated. His heart is immediately cleansed and he is liberated. And after one has reached that, then all one cares and anxieties in this world are over because one knows I am a servant of God. God will give me protection. Why should I worry about anything? It is just like a child. A child knows that his mother and father will take care of him. He is free. If he should go to touch fire, his mother will take care of him. Oh, my dear child, don't touch. The mother is always looking after him. So, why don't you put your trust in God? Actually, you are under the protection of God. Just like Prahlad Maharaj, it's not like he was not doing his duties as a child. He had to go to school, so he was going and he was learning everything there, and he is doing all that conditional duties. But at the same time, in his heart of hearts, he is fully dependent on the Lord for protection. So when the situation goes beyond his control and like he is thrown out of from the mountain cliff, or he is thrown into the snake pit and everything, he is depending on the Lord's mercy, and the Lord is giving protection. People go to church and say, God, give us our daily bread. Actually, if He did not give it to us, we would not be able to live. That is a fact. The Vedas also say that one supreme, one supreme, one supreme personality supplies all the necessities of every other living creature. God is supplying food for everyone. We human beings have our economic problem. But what economic problem is there in societies other than human society? The bird society has no economic problem. The beasts have no economic problem. There are 84 lakh species of life, and out of that, human society is very, very small. It is 4 lakh. So they have created problems: what to eat, where to sleep, how to mate, how to defend. These are problems for us. But the majority of creatures, the aquatic, the fish, the plant, the insect, the bird, the beast, and the many millions upon millions of other living creatures do not have such problem. They are also living creatures. Don't think that they are different from us. It is not true that we human beings are the only living creatures and that all others are dead. No, and who is providing their food and shelter? It is God. The plants and animals are not going to the office, they are not going to the university to get technological education to earn money. So, how are they eating? God is supplying. The elephant eats hundreds of pounds of food. Who is supplying? Are you making arrangements for the elephant? There are millions of elephants. Who is supplying? So the process of acknowledging that God is supplying is better than thinking God is dead. Why should we go to church and pray to God for bread? So God is supplying for all living entities, and that's how He is just asking God for this bare necessities is not correct. Rather than serving that I am a part of God and I have to serve God is more higher. Uh, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said 4 kinds of people come to Krishna: the distressed, those who are in need of money, the wise, and the inquisitive. So, one who is inquisitive, one who is wise, one who is distressed, and one who is in need of money. So, these 4 classes of men approach God. Artha, Arthartho, Jnani, Jigyansu. They all 4 classes of men, they are called as pious people, Sukratanas, and they approach God. My dear God, I am very hungry. Give me my daily bread. That's nice. Those who approach God in this way are recommended as Sukratanas. So Bhakta is different and Sukratanas. Sukriti means pious. They are pious. Although they are asking for money for food, they are considered pious because they are approaching God, and others are just the opposite. They are duskritinas, impious. Kriti means very meritorious. But the word duskriti indicates that their energy is being misused to create havoc. Just like a man who invented atomic weapon. He has a brain, but it has been misused. He has created something that is dreadful. Create something that will ensure that man will no longer have to die. What is the use of creating something so that millions of people will immediately die? They will die today or tomorrow or after 100 years. So, what have the scientists done? Create something so that man will not die immediately, so that there will be no more disease, so that there will be no more old age. Then you will have done something. But the Dushkritinas never go to God, they never try to understand God. Therefore, their energy is misdirected. So there are four kinds of pious people who approach God: Artha, Arthartha, Jnani and Jigyasus. And there are four kinds of people, Duskritanas, who never go to God and their energies are very much misdirected. So who are the Duskritanas is described in this paragraph. The gross materialistic who ignore their relationship with God are described in the Bhagavad Gita as Mudhas. Mudha means ash, donkey. Those who are working very, very hard to earn money are compared to the donkey. They will eat the same four chapatis daily, but they are unnecessarily working to earn thousands of dollars. And others are described as Naradhama. Naradhama means the lowest of mankind. The human form of life is meant for God realization. It is a right of man to try to realize God. One who understands Brahman, God, is a Brahmana, not others. So that is the duty of this human form of life. What is the duty? Is to realize God. In every human society, there is some system that is called religion, and by which one may try to understand God. It doesn't matter whether it is the Christian religion, the Mohammedan religion, or the Hindu religion. It doesn't matter. The system is to understand God and our relationship with Him. That's all. This is the duty of the human beings, and if this duty is ignored in human society, then it is animal society, because animals do not follow religion. Animals have no power to understand what is God and their relationship with God. Their only interests are eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. If we are only concerned with these things, then what are we? We are animals. So this is the verse from Mahabharata where it says like human life is meant for inquiring about God and us. Or else it will be, if we are just inquiring about increasing the quality of eating, sleeping, mating, defending, then there is no difference between the animal life and human life. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita says that those who ignore this opportunity are the lowest of mankind. So, Naradhama, Mudas, Naradhamas. They got this human form of life after evolving through 84 lakh births and yet did not utilize it for God realization, but simply for the animal propensities. Therefore, they are Naradhamas, the lowest of mankind. And there are other persons who are very proud of their knowledge. But what is that knowledge? There is no God. I am God. Their actual knowledge has been taken away by Maya. If they are God, then how they have become dogs? There are so many arguments against them, but they simply defy God. Atheism, because they have taken to the process of atheism, their actual knowledge is stolen away. Actual knowledge means to know what is God and our relationship with God. If one does not know this, then it is to be understood that his knowledge has been taken away by Maya. So in this way, if we try to understand our relationship with God, there are ways and means. So ways and means are always there. We just have to put our interest in understanding our relationship with God. There are books, there is knowledge. So why not take advantage of them? Everyone should take advantage of this knowledge. Try to understand that in the Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literatures, everywhere it is said that God is great, and that although we are qualitatively one with God, we are minute. The ocean and the minute particle of water have the same qualitatively one, but quantitatively different. Similarly, God is all powerful and we have some power. God creates everything and we can create a small machine to fly, just like the small machines with which children play. But God can create millions of planets flying in the air. That is the qualification of God. You cannot create any planets. Even if you can create a planet, what is the benefit of that? There are millions of planets created by God, but you also have the creative power. God has the power and you have the power, but He is so great that yours cannot compare to it. If you say, I am God, that is foolishness. You can claim that you are God, but what act have you performed so extraordinarily that you can claim that you are God? That is ignorance. The knowledge of one who thinks himself God has been taken away by the spell of Maya. Maya aparita jnana. So our relationship is that God is great and we are minute. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna clearly says all living entities are my parts and parcels. Mamaivamusho Jivaloko. He says, my Amsha, all living entities are my parts and parcels. Jivaloko, all the living entities. Qualitatively, they are one with me, and quantitatively, they are different. Just like a ocean compared to a drop of water from the ocean. So they are qualitatively same, but quantity wise, the salt derived from the bigger amount of like ocean will be different. So we are simultaneously one with and different from God. That is our relationship. We are one because we have the same qualities as God. But if we study ourselves minutely, we will find that although we have some great qualities, God has them all in greater qualities. So there are four kinds of people who do not surrender to God. They are like grossly foolish mudas who are just working hard, and they and others are lowest among mankind, naradhamas, who just think eating, improving the eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and not understanding the knowledge of God, and whose knowledge is stolen by Maya, who thinks that I am God. If I practice this, I will become God one day or something like that. And who are demoniac, who are asuric, atheistic people, they all four do not approach God and they utilize their energy in a negative direction. But we all have a relationship with God, and it is compared in quality we are one, and in quantity it is different. We cannot have anything that is not in God. That is not possible. Therefore, in the Vedanta Sutra, it is said that everything that we have is also found in God. It is emanating from God. So our relationship is that because we are small, because we are minute, we are the eternal servitors of God. In this material world also, in ordinary behavior, we see that a man goes to serve another man because the other man is greater than him and can pay him a nice salary. So naturally, the conclusion is that if we are small, our duty is to serve God. We have no other business. We are all different parts and parcel of the original entity. So in the nature, everywhere there is a lesson which can help us. If we observe, it helps us to connect to Krishna some way or other. There are many lessons in our day-to-day activities in the nature. Just like one example here Prabhupada is giving, that one who is in a bigger post, one go like the then if somebody is in bigger post than me, then I go and serve below him so that I get a nice salary. Similarly, Krishna is quantity wise, he is greater, and he is the maintainer, provider, controller, and I am a part of him. So if I have to be in line with service to him. So we are all different parts and parcel of the original entity. A screw that is connected with a machine is valuable because it is working with the whole machine. Maybe the whole machine is very big, and uh, till the point this little tiny screw is connected with the machine, it has value. And if the screw is taken away from the machine, or if it is faulty, it is worthless. My finger is worth millions of dollars as long as it is attached to this body and is serving the body. And if it cut off from this body, then what is it worth? Nothing, because it may look like a finger for some time, but it won't function as a finger. Similarly, our relationship is that we are very small particles of God. Therefore, our duty is to dovetail our energies with Him and cooperate with Him. That is our relationship. Otherwise, we are worthless. We are cut off. That's why this feeling of little vacuums in the heart, even if whatever anyone desires and gets and everything, after that also there is an emptiness in the heart. The space remains vacant. That is the space of relationship of a soul with Krishna. We feel cut off or something vacant, something missing. That is the loving reciprocation with Lord. When the finger becomes useless, the doctor says, oh, amputate the finger. Otherwise, the body will be poisoned. Similarly, when we become godless, we are cut off from our relationship with God and suffer in this material world. If we try to join again with the Supreme Lord, then our relationship is revived. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I will stop here. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mahadev, thank you very much. So this Conway Hall, London, in 1969, Prabhupada sent three of his married disciples, Mukunda and Janaki, Shyamasundar and Shyamasundar and Malati, and Gurudas and Yamuna. So they went to London and they organized this program in Conway Hall in 1969. So even in the Isopnishad book, we can see Prabhupada gave that introduction talk in this Conway Hall. So here Prabhupada says that a human form of life is meant for God realization. So now how do we realize this God? So that we have to exercise our constitutional position, which is to serve God. So when we begin this service to God, we become cleansed. Today during the day, I was counseling one person. So that person was saying, I'm not having a job, I'm saying so many problems. I told him, unless you cleanse your consciousness, you cannot find any direction, even materially, what to speak of spiritual. So, and so here Prabhupada says, after one has reached that, all one's cares and anxiety in this world are over. So actually our real care and anxiety is our spiritual life. But since we miss that point, we become anxiety about our material life. So that's an extension of the problem. So the root cause of all our cares and anxiety is forgetting our relationship with God and our service. So because God by nature wants to protect us, because we belong to God, just like something belongs to us, we'll try to protect it. So because God thinks we are His, He is doing everything that's required to protect us. Of course, His protection may differ from what we expect Him to do, because He knows that we are the soul and we are not the body, but we don't know that. So we think that if He's protecting me, supposing if this corona pandemic happens, if He protects my body, we think, okay, God is protecting me. And if He doesn't protect, then we say, okay, maybe God is not so protecting. But Krishna's only concern is our soul, our spiritual life, our devotional life. So that He will definitely protect. Yoga Khyamam Vahamya. And He will provide what is required for us to do the devotion. If our body is required to do devotion, He will provide it. If we need some other body to do the devotion, He will do that. So here Prabhupada is talking about our relationship with God. So that is real self-realization. Without a relationship, we cannot define anything. Anything you see, you can define it only in relation to something else. So we get our real identity in relationship with God because we have qualities similar to God. So this Sankirtana moment is there. By calling out the Lord's name, we can realize God and understand the relationship with God and serve God. And not only that, it cleanses our heart. So the cleansing takes place because the Lord Himself is doing the cleansing. We are just calling, just like we are calling the fire brigade, and they are coming and doing the job of dousing the fire. So we cannot do it, but when we call them, they come and solve our problem. So by calling out the Lord's name, He comes and because He is the purest of the pure, He is able to clean the most dirty thing in our heart. So this misidentification of our identity is because of the dust covering in the mirror of the mind, Cheta, Darpana. And so why this has accumulated so many dust? Because we have done so many activities and they give some impressions known as sanskars. Uh, uh, so we have to undo that. And the only way possible is through this chanting. So the real purpose of meditation is to meditate on the relationship. Just like we may take our relationships very casually, and when problems come, then we deeply meditate. Okay, what I'm supposed to do? Why is he angry? How I can satisfy him? So like this, we start thinking. So many people do not know what is the relationship with God. First of all, they don't know whether God exists, who is God, and there's the question of establishing relationship. So why do you not know this relationship? Because we are covered by the three modes of material nature. And um, so sometimes we think we are good, and sometimes we want to be bad, sometimes we want to be passionate. So under this impression, we keep redefining ourselves. So once in your house, you think I'm a member of this family. Once you go to the office, you think I'm part of this office. And once you go into the road, you think I'm part of this public. So like that, we are constantly changing our identity. And Prabhupada gives the analogy how in the morning uh, we cannot see ourselves in the fog. So that is cleared when the sun appears. So sometimes we may not be able to see sun also because of the clouds, or we are in a place where the sun has already set. But that doesn't mean the sun doesn't exist. That information about the sun is available to someone else. And if we contact such a person, then we can confirm it. The Lord has multi potencies, multi energies. And so unlike us, we have to depend on the three modes of material nature to be execute our activities. But as far as the Lord is concerned, the energies work under his will. And just by the Lord's desiring, or this material energy executes everything perfectly. We may desire something and still it may not happen. But in the case of the Lord, just by his desiring, everything is executed. So Prabhupada gives the example of a flower, how it is so artistic and all the butterfly and so many. Just if you observe nature itself, we can appreciate the God's nature. So unfortunately, people say that God is dead, and this is like a person who's haunted by a ghost. So because he talks all nonsense, that's what we are seeing. That the world is filled with so much news and literature, but basically it's like a ghost haunted man. He's talking. It looks like very useful, but ultimately, just like once one person went to the forest in the middle of the night, and in the forest he saw they have a party. uh, So everything fantastic was happening there. But later, when he came back, he realized that that was a ghost part. So they can create an illusion that everything is happy in this world. So here Prabhupada gives the concession that in your family life, in your club, in your home, on the road, everywhere chant Hare Krishna. And this darkness covering your heart, covering your real position will be removed. So even Prabhupada went to the extent of doing this Sankirtana program in the rock concerts and all these places, uh, yoga societies, although they were not doing real yoga, but still Prabhupada encouraged them to chant this Mahamantra because he was had faith in this process given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that this process will cleanse the heart. So just like when we earlier we used to have this camera films, and once you take a picture, you cannot reuse that camera film. Or you have a cassette tape, you record some audio and then again uh, can use it again, but after some time it gets spoiled. So there are many processes to uncover this. So that is where we have the jnana process where we cultivate a speculative method or analytical process. But that can only give us liberation, but it cannot give us bliss. And then you have the karma process, which can only elevate to higher planets. But then after that exhausted, you again come back. Or you have the yoga process where you get mystic powers, but then there's one who's having more powers than you. So we have to control the mind, means we have to control the senses, and therefore we have to observe these four regulative principles. Just like if you want to attain samadhi, then there is the eightfold process, beginning with the breathing, sitting postures, and eating, regulating eating, sleeping, and recreation, and all this. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that in Kali Yuga this is not possible, so not by karma, jnana, or yoga, but mainly by only chanting Hare Krishna. So not only that, we know that this without our wanting, miseries are coming. Just like without our wanting, sometimes happiness comes. And what is the just like we cannot extinguish a forest fire with the fire engines, like in Australia, there are frequent forest fires, and someone is blaming the prime minister for that. So he is no inefficient. So, but because they don't know that the forest fire can extinguish only by rain, and that rain comes only by the mercy of the Lord. So Prahlada Maharaj also saying that although we have a father, mother, and all these caretakers, ultimately they are helpless. Only God is empowering them to take care of us. Uh, Even the best doctor is there, gives the best medicine, still we may not survive if God's mercy is not there. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that this divine energy of mine is very difficult to overcome. Although it is divine energy, because we misuse that divine energy, it becomes problematic. So only way is when you surrender to Krishna, who is in control of that divine energy, we are able to uh, become free. So Krishna is the supreme, eternal, supreme conscious and supreme bliss. So by connecting with him uh, through this chanting process, just like a person is suffering from jaundice, by taking raw candy, so he becomes free from that disease. Similarly, although this chanting process is very difficult, uh, that is the only solution. When we establish a relationship with God, we become happy because God is also happy. So if we identify ourselves with this body, then we are no better than animal. Once we establish a relationship with God, although Lord is willing to protect us all the time, we are not accepting that protection, the process which is giving. So once we establish a connection with God, we are able to access that protection. Just like the internet is available all the time, we have to connect to it. We have to log in and put a password and get connected. Similarly, the God's protection is available to all the living entities, and we have to just get access to that. So even if we don't pray to God for solving our problems, He is anyway, from the time we are created itself, once we entered this material world itself, He has given us all the solution. So we are not accessing those solutions in the right way. So we put a lot of faith in the scientists, thinking that now, for example, people have put a lot of faith in the doctors where they'll develop some vaccine. And when even after taking 2 doses of vaccine, people are getting infected. So like this, we put hope against hope in the scientists, thinking that they will solve all the problems. But in the process, they're creating havoc only. And people who have taken the vaccine have also died of blood clots and all these things. So to solve the warfare, they introduced weapons, and that is always the threat is there. People are misusing that anytime they may press the button. So if one attains human form and doesn't revive his relationship with God, is no better than the donkey, which is forced to work hard, although it need not. Being part and parcel of God, we need not slog because we don't see God going to the factory or going to the college, or going to saving money in the bank. All this the God doesn't do, neither the animals are doing it. Then why is a man over endeavoring for this? Which means he is misunderstood the purpose of human life. So therefore we have to take knowledge from the Bhagavad Gita. So we see that God is able to even float the planets. In the common sense, you can argue how can scientists explain how the planets are floating in the air? They say gravity and all these things. Just by the gravitational laws, you cannot even send the shuttle to space. They don't disclose all this, but definitely they don't use g is equal to 9.8 meter per second squared. They know very well that that's not a constant. But for us, our understanding, they say it's a constant. If you assume it's a constant, you cannot send the rocket to space. So then how can we believe this gravitational law? There's no law. The only law is that God is maintaining all these planets in their position by his will. Anant Sesha is doing that work. Okay. So just as the finger has some value when it's connected with the body, similarly, when we connect with God, then we regain our original position. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasundubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you, Mataji, for reading. Just 2 more sections are remaining. You can do it tomorrow and day after. So please join us for the morning chanting session. Hare.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Should I end or you will end?
Prabhu, I have two questions to ask.
Yeah, tell me.
Prabhu, like in today's class, it was a discussion about quality-wise we are equal to Lord, and by quantity we are very like tiny. So which quality here we are talking about, like that 16, 20, 24, like Brahma, Shiva, and Krishna? These are different qualities?
Those 50 qualities are listed in the Nectar of Devotion, no? Those qualities.
So all those qualities are there in Jiva also?
Yes, to lesser extent. Brahma has them to the fullest extent. But basically, that qualities are Satchitananda. And that's also, that's the mixing of the Satchitananda comes all those qualities.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So you are the host, so you have to end for today.
All right.